Connor Hayes was used to being invisible. Most people didn't notice the janitor who scrubbed floors before dawn and emptied wastebaskets long after the offices cleared out. That was fine with him. After losing his wife 4 years earlier, his entire world had narrowed down to one purpose: raising his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. The job didn't pay much, but it was steady, and steady meant stability. Stability meant Lily didn't have to move again. Stability meant Lily could stay in her school, with her friends, in the one place that still felt like home. Every morning, Connor packed Lily's lunch with a handwritten note, walked her to the bus stop, and then jogged the remaining mile to the towering glass building of Marlowe Industries. The company was enormous, one of the biggest medical research firms in the region. People in tailored suits and polished shoes floated through the building like they belonged to a different species entirely. Meanwhile, Connor wore steel-toed boots and a name patch sewn on by hand. Two worlds, divided by paychecks and power. Then came the day everything changed. It was a Thursday morning in early autumn. Connor was polishing the marble floors in the lobby when the CEO, Margaret Marlowe, swept through with her security detail. Everyone knew her. A woman with precise posture, a reputation for being intimidating, and a rumored net worth large enough to buy a small country. She did not look like someone who had ever struggled to pay rent or check the price of milk. Connor didn't expect her to notice him. She never had before, but her pace slowed as she passed, her eyes flicking to the worn bracelet on his wrist. It was made of cheap blue cord and plastic beads, Lily's handiwork. "That's lovely," she said, briefly stopping. His hand paused mid-wax. "My daughter made it." Her expression softened, only for a moment. "She must think very highly of you." And then she was gone. He stared after her, wondering why a woman like that would bother to say anything at all. Life might have continued that way, quiet, separate, if not for the events of the next week. Connor was working late, pushing his cart down the executive hallway. Most of the building was dark. Only the glow of office lights cast long reflections across the floor. Margaret was finishing a call inside her office, voice low, words clipped. A disagreement about funding, research phases, patents, things Connor didn't understand. What he did understand was the sound of footsteps that didn't belong. A man appeared at the far end of the hallway, moving fast and wrong, like someone determined, desperate, cornered. Connor recognized him as a recently fired lab technician, escorted out earlier that afternoon. His face was pale, twisted with something sharp. Fear, rage, grief, it was hard to tell. The man was holding a gun. Time slowed in the way it only does when danger is real. He pushed open Margaret's office door. She looked up and froze. "You ruined my life," the man said. "You think you can just discard people? Like numbers, like trash." Margaret stood slowly, hands raised. "Let's talk about this. Whatever happened?" "No," he said. "Talking is done." Connor didn't think. He just moved. He lunged forward, slamming into the man from the side just as the gun fired. The sound was deafening. Pain exploded through Connor's shoulder. He fell, the floor cold beneath him, the world tilting. Security swarmed seconds later, tackling the man, disarming him, dragging him away. Margaret dropped to her knees beside Connor, her calm finally cracked. "Stay with me," she said, pressing her hands over the wound. "You're going to be okay." He blinked up at her. "My daughter, Lily. Someone needs to call her." "I will," she said, voice steady, resolute. "I promise." He woke in a hospital bed hours later. His shoulder was bandaged, arm immobilized. Pain throbbed deep as a heartbeat. But the first thing he saw was Lily, curled asleep in a chair beside him, necklace missing from her wrist. She must have given it to him while he was unconscious. The second person in the room was Margaret. She stood when he stirred. "Mr. Hayes, Connor, I owe you more than I can ever repay." He swallowed. Anyone would have done the same. "No," she said quietly. They wouldn't have. For the next few days, she visited regularly. Not briefly, not politely, she stayed. She talked to Lily, asking about her drawings and school projects. She spoke to Connor about his life, not just the surface, but the struggle underneath. Widowhood, bills, the night shifts, the sacrifices. She listened, and something changed in her expression every time she left. A week later, when he was cleared to go home, she arranged transportation. She also arranged something else, but she did not tell him. Not yet. On Monday morning, Connor returned to work, moving slower, but refusing to take more time off. He couldn't afford unpaid days. He expected whispers, pity, attention he didn't want. Instead, everyone stood when he walked into the lobby. Dozens of employees lined the marble floor. They had gathered for him. Margaret stepped forward. "Connor Hayes risked his life to protect mine," she said. "But that is not the only remarkable thing about him. For years, this company has walked past him without seeing him. We benefited from his labor, his dedication, and we never thought to ask who he is, what he needs, or how we could do better." She turned to him fully. "So today, we are going to change that." A screen lit up behind her, displaying new policy changes. Increased minimum wages for support staff. Full healthcare coverage, paid family leave, childcare assistance, career advancement pathways. He stared, unable to speak. "This," she said, "is because of you. Because you reminded us that every person in this building matters." Someone began clapping. Then everyone did. Connor stood there, overwhelmed, holding Lily's bracelet tightly in his hand. But Margaret wasn't finished. "And one more thing," she said. "Connor Hayes is no longer a janitor at Marlowe Industries." His heart slammed in his chest. "I would like to offer you a position in operations support, with training and full salary benefits. If you choose to accept." He looked at her, stunned. "Why?" he whispered. "Because loyalty, courage, and integrity are worth more than any degree," she said. "And because you saved my life. Let me help rebuild yours." His eyes blurred, tears gathering he refused to let fall. He thought of Lily, the future he thought they'd never reach. The stability he had dreamed of but could not grasp. He nodded slowly. "Thank you," he said. "For seeing me." She smiled, just slightly, but sincerely. "We see you now," she said. "And we won't forget again." The company didn't forget. Not ever. Connor grew into his new role, then into roles beyond it. He helped shape programs for employees who had been overlooked. He pushed for mentorship programs, education reimbursement, mental health services. And the company changed, not overnight, not easily, but steadily. And every day, he wore Lily's bracelet. A reminder, a symbol, not of charity received, but of worth finally recognized. Because sometimes the person who seems invisible is the one holding everything together. And sometimes a company doesn't change because of a board meeting. It changes because a quiet man made a brave choice when nobody was watching. And the world finally learned to watch.